next slide, is a mental, you need to go back there, right? Yes. A mental and physical illness where there's a preoccupation with food and with weight. Now, there are many eating disorders, where sometimes we get a little bit too robust. That's also sometimes considered eating disorder. But the two main ones that are emphasized mainly is anorexia nervosa and bulimia. So those are the two I'm going to emphasize today. So, how does an eating disorder start? But really, we do not know how it starts. There's a lot of thought as to what might happen. But they're thinking that it's mainly like self-esteem, trauma, or things like that could be factors. The statistics. Now, 24 million Americans have an eating disorder of some kind. 24 million. Okay? Of that, 1 in 5 women struggle with some type of eating disorder. So if you should look in our congregation, and if you're saying 1 in 5, then the possibilities that we have at least one person here that might have an eating disorder. 10 to 15% of people have anorexia or bulimia are male. And sometimes we don't think men might have an eating disorder. So that's why I tried to put a picture of a man that does have an eating disorder on top there, so you can see what he looks like. 90% of women between 12 and 25 have an eating disorder, and 11% of our high school young people may have an eating disorder. Next slide. So, anorexia nervosa. So, what is that? So, this is a disease or disorder that's characterized by an unhealthy body weight. The person usually have intense fear of gaining weight, and they have a disturbed body image. Next slide. So, what does it look like? So, the person, you might see a person that looks very thin, but when that person looks in the mirror, that person is seeing something else. They're thinking that they are overweight, and although this might be extreme, but I've seen patients that do look like that, okay, where they just have stopped eating, and it's not as easy as just saying to them, just, eat, because it's not even so much about food as it is about the other, I think it's on my next slide, about the psychological aspect of it. So sometimes, it's more about depression, loneliness, wanting to be accepted, and it might start out about the food where they think they want to look better, but then it becomes something where it's not just where they can just snap out of it. It takes like a lot of help to do that. So the young people might start with wanting to look slim and thinking that's what it's beautiful, and then they turn to look like that, and it's no longer something that they can control. The next thing is bulimia. So bulimia nervosa is where the person will eat like a large quantity of food, and then they will cause themselves to vomit to bring it back up, or they might take a lot of laxatives, or they might take diuretics to lose the weight, or just exercise from uncontrollably. So what does this look like? You might see a pattern of like diet, purging, hunger, purging. Sometimes the person might just have like a basin or a bag beside them when they eat, so that they can bring it back up. And there's this telltale sign that's called a Russell sign, where they keep vomiting, so their knuckles get eroded from the acid from the stomach, and that's usually a telltale sign. So and if you're seeing someone that's kind of always like going to the bathroom after they eat, maybe you want to just check this person out, because that something might be wrong. If they want to go to the bathroom, or they can't finish their meal, they have to go to the bathroom, then we should be aware of that. So what are some of the consequences? Consequences include things like electrolyte imbalances. You might have They might rupture their stomach, just from the vomiting. They could have tooth decay because now they're not getting their nutrients. So their bones get brittle, get broken easily, and the tooth get, decayed, and you can even have death. I've had a patient, I think she was like around 34 or something like that had anorexia, and regardless of what we do, we put the feeding tube in, she would pull it out, and she went to the point that she died, and there's just nothing that we could do. So, although we might think it's something that is not in our midst, we have a lot of young people, and the face of anorexia and bulimia can be anyone. It can be even as young, they're staying now at 9, 10, and it can also be males, and it can also be older people, like people going into menopause, people having internet syndrome, people who are, whatever situation in your life put you in that might cause some kind of a stress to you, sometimes you could have that. So the treatment is usually multidisciplinary. You have medical, you have psychological, medications, and nutrition. So it's all of that working together to take the person home. And now I just have a short 2-minute clip that I would like to say about a young girl who was struggling with anorexia.